NFL season is here. No perfect records this week, but still pretty darn good.
Nobody's going to know.
Major League Baseball's offseason is here. The pursuit of Juan Soto, does it really just come down to two teams? Or will the Dodgers be in play, which they could swoop in and make a big play for a guy like Juan Soto, even though they are the defending World Series champs. There's never too much money for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The defending World Series champs, because we're doing the show. When we do the show, we miss the World Series ending.
Yeah.
So a week later, we can touch on some of that a little bit. Yeah. We've got Wendi McLendon-Covey on the show. If the name itself doesn't ring a bell, she's been in a bunch of stuff that you've seen, from The Office to The Goldbergs to now NBC's new comedy, Denis Medical. Looks like a really funny show where they break that fourth wall staring at the camera in those awkward moments. Previews look really, really funny. The premiere is next week. We'll talk with Wendi McLendon-Covey as well here on Onorato and Miller. It's Chris. It's Ash. Let's go.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpen House.
So Ash made reference to it there at the Open. It was like week 9 in the NFL season didn't exist on this show. We had the picks ready to go. We make picks every single week against the spread. We didn't do it last week. We had the picks in the show. We just didn't make them.
We thought, this is how this works. We thought, we're trying to count down the show, time it out the right way. We're never going to be able to fill this show. We don't have enough content. We get to the end of the show. We're like, wow, that was pretty good.
No.
And we look at each other and we're like, we didn't even make our picks. We were having so much fun. We didn't even make our picks.
These were our picks last week.
Believe us.
We'll get to how they all kind of shook out and what our records are now and what we like in week 10. Sam, good evening. Sienna Women opened things up. I'm sure Sam was there on I don't
last
know
night,
what night it is
technically.
now. Yeah, Wednesday night. Thank you. Yep. The Rock Man calling his shot now.
Great. Stop doing my hair. I gotta get my hair done sometime. Sorry, man.
I think it looks pretty good, Frank.
Thanks.
Rock is now a Dodgers fan.
Which is why we don't speak anymore.
Right. We'll see if that's the case the end of next season as well. We'll see. Okay. This leads to, we normally just, NFL leads every show, right? No matter what you're watching nationally, NFL is king. But this is going to be an interesting storyline for a long time, it sounds like, because Scott Boras, Juan Soto's agent, says Juan's going to take his time. So what does that mean? Are we waiting until the winter meetings? Are we waiting until a couple weeks after the winter meetings, which happen in early December? What is take your time? I can't imagine this goes too deep into 2025. Then it just starts to get weird because his price tag only fits into a select number of teams' budgets, right?
Well, I saw a headline the other day, like the Rays are throwing their hat in the ring. The Rays?
Yeah,
the Rays aren't even worth as much, and this is an exaggeration. The Rays aren't even worth as much money as Juan Soto's going to garner in a contract.
Well, they've had full payrolls below what Soto will get paid for 1 year.
They could for 1 year. I was going to say for his total contract, say he makes $500-600 million. They could play multiple seasons. They could play like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons with a payroll in that contract.
Yeah. So really, okay, take your time, but are you just banking on the Yankees and Mets bidding against one another for weeks and weeks? That's not going to happen. They're going to make their bids. If Boras calls Cashman and says, hey, Steve Cohen's coming in at this number, we're going there unless you say you're going to beat, that's possible where it's a one-time back and forth. But I don't think there are too many teams here in play. Yankees, Mets, and the Dodgers. How many other teams out there are going to be able to say, we will give you $500+ million? They're just not out there.
Well, I mean, if you can defer the way that Shohei deferred and you can really work the system, maybe there are.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Blue Jays and Giants as teams thrown out there. Is that, I mean, maybe the Giants could.
Well, the Giants thought they had a deal done with Aaron Judge, right?
Yeah.
They were ready to pay him $400 million.
So maybe they'd pay Juan, but he'd be the only, like, that team's just not good enough. Juan Soto doesn't put that team over the top.
Yeah. Sam says Mets will overpay for him. I don't know that you can overpay for a 25-year-old.
26, I think.
Okay, he just turned 26. Maybe. I mean,
he feels like he's been in the league 10 years.
I guess the argument you could make is he an outfielder? Is he an everyday outfielder beyond the next 2 or 3 years? I think a team perfect scenario would be he's our DH, right? To the point that Ohtani is a DH.
Or a first baseman. I don't know if he's
Philly
defensively good enough to play first base.
Phillies afford him all the money they've got tied up.
A lot of money.
Harper and Turner and Real Muto and Castellanos, and they have to move some pieces in order for that to happen. That would be a scary lineup. But that, I mean, Schwarber, what a left-handed power in that lineup. Could they make that happen with what they? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, the Yankees have to do everything.
Yes.
To keep him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, is there any scenario where a Yankees fan would say, you know what? Okay, they outbid us. Good for them.
No.
We probably made the right move in letting him walk and not tying up X amount of dollars in him.
I don't think so, because we've overpaid for people who, like, I always go back to Jacoby Ellsbury. We overpaid for years and years and years for that guy. Okay, so if you end up overpaying for Juan Soto, it's going to be only through catastrophic injury and like he just doesn't pan out, or through the final like 3 years of his contract when he's 26, say you give him a 12-year contract, he's 38, and it doesn't really work out from 36 to 38. Who cares? Yeah. Like if you're going to take 10 healthy years of Juan Soto from 26 to 36, then you pay him $50+ million a year, whatever it is. You pay him whatever Aaron Judge is making and have those two play nice, and that's what you give him.
Yeah. And I think it's difficult to rationalize paying him more than Judge, but they bring their own different sets of value. If Judge is making $40 a year, the number for Soto starts with a 5.
Yeah.
It starts with a 5.
Yeah.
The Mets will give him $50 million a year.
Does he feel like he can win a World Series with the Mets?
I don't know that I don't know that matters. He won one in Washington.
He's been more involved. He's been on playoff teams all over the place. Yeah. Like the Padres were a good team and a playoff team before he left them.
Yeah, it's been a different time in New York, that's for sure. 13 years, 750. Oh my goodness. If that's what he pulls. Yeah, I just, if the gap is 10 million a year and we're talking 10 plus,
it's a lot.
You can't walk away from 100 million because you're having fun with your buddy, right? I'd say I'll find new friends. See ya.
Listen, when it's that much money, you can't even spend it fast enough. So that to me is like, if I'm having fun, I'm really loving New York, it's a great situation, and they're going to pay me a load of money to play with Aaron Judge and potentially win a World Series, then I think you can walk away from some money, but I don't know if you're walking away from $100 million.
Yeah. Tough. Okay. We'll talk about more of the Major League Baseball free agents out on the market. ESPN has a rankings list out there, which should not surprise you.
Who do you want? If you've got your pick of the litter, who are you taking?
There's some decent starting pitchers on the market, actually. No front line guys, except maybe a Corbin Burns and Max Fried. But Fried is really more of a 2 in the way he's pitched lately. But guys who can fill out a rotation and be more than serviceable. First round of college football playoff rankings are out. Where did the committee get it right? Where'd the committee get it wrong? Back in a minute.
Fall in love with camping all over again with a new RV from Alpenhaus. As our attention turns to changing leaves and tailgate parties, be sure to stop by Alpenhaus to find the perfect RV for your fall camping trips. You'll love this Coachman Catalina for only $131 a month. And check out this Keystone Cougar Sport for only $358 a month. Whether you're snowbirds heading south or leaf peeping through New England, our outfitters will make sure you have everything you need for your autumn adventure. Shop online at alpenhausrv.com or come see us in Amsterdam and Saratoga.
I'm Jeff Uklick, I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in these stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Alpenhaus, Marcella's, Bev's, Performance Industrial, and Novice. Thanks to all of
Got my Novice shirt on
claim
today.
Your crown. There you go. Thanks to all of our local support that we get on this show. Ash, you're upset about this?
Yeah.
Comment?
Throwing stones
Soto?
over there from a Mets fan.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know.
As long as the Dodgers are in play, which will be for a long time now, I get it. But I think the Yankees have as good a chance of anybody as winning a championship.
Okay. Yeah, I think
they were just in the World Series.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. All right, first round of college football playoff rankings. Here they go. We got the top 12 on your screen. The number 13 team, I think, is one of the most interesting in all of this, with a legitimate chance to win the ACC. We'll talk about them later.
Interesting that you chose to use commas in this.
What do I usually do?
I don't know. Just list them without the commas?
Oh.
Interesting.
It felt like they needed a break in the... Yeah, I guess I could have just done without the comma. Okay.
Just saying.
Oregon is unbeaten, and they beat Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So they're number one in the country. They just barely beat Boise State, though. So that shows you maybe the clump we've got here. But I will, again, go back to my argument as to why 12 will be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But if we look at this list objectively, we only need 4. I'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah, maybe.
Oregon won.
But you only need the top 4?
No.
That's what I mean. If this was how it played out, then you wouldn't only want 4, because it's not currently the 4 best teams as you would.
Okay. Let's get to that in a second. Yeah. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3. Georgia just, I mean, they live dangerously, it seems, every single week. Carson Beck turns the ball over like Peyton Manning in his rookie year in the NFL. It's unbelievable. Miami unbeaten at 4. Texas at 5. Here's where it gets weird. Penn State. They haven't beaten anybody, and they just lost to Ohio State.
But a close game.
They're ahead of an undefeated Indiana team, also in the Big Ten. Weird. Tennessee, better conference, 1 loss. They're ahead of the Vols. BYU's unbeaten. Notre Dame's got the worst loss of any of these teams against Northern Illinois.
And yet they're already back up to 10.
Bama with 2 losses, right? And Boise State, 1 loss at 12. And they may very well have the Heisman Trophy winner in their backfield. Okay, so
you need Indiana higher.
Yes. They're blowing teams out.
What's their best win?
They're undefeated.
Best win.
I don't know. I have to look at the schedule.
Well, that's all. If you don't know, they probably haven't beaten anyone of real significance, which is why they are where they are.
They still haven't lost.
I get it.
And I got a bunch of teams here with 1 loss ahead of them. And for the crowd that says, well, it's the first round of rankings, doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter, because let's just, for argument's sake, suggest all of these teams win the rest of their games. Mm-hmm. You're telling me still Indiana is going to be behind teams like Penn State, Tennessee.
My guess is it won't be possible for all of these teams to win all
Correct,
the rest
because
of their
Indiana
games.
has to play Ohio State at some point.
And everybody in championship games could get bounced around and play one another.
Yep.
So,
all right, here's my argument for the 4-team playoff the way it was constituted.
Mm-hmm.
Name me more than 4 teams on this list that can win the national championship.
Well, Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas.
Yep.
Alabama, maybe not this year.
This is the only year that matters.
But in general.
No, this year.
Would you be surprised if Alabama ripped off a whole bunch of wins?
Yes.
Okay. not Boise State, not Notre Dame, not BYU, not Indiana, despite your...
Nope. I'm with you. Yep.
I mean...
Not Tennessee. The offense has fallen way off a cliff. Not Penn State and not Miami. Miami lives dangerously every week.
Miami probably shouldn't be where they are there.
We got 4 teams and maybe 5. And the argument in the 4-team playoff for years was team 5 could, okay, maybe. But I've said this forever. If you just want more football, cool. But don't try to explain to me that the 12th or 10th team in the playoff could win they can't. They won't. It's not going to happen.
You get a 12th or 11th team that's named Alabama, you have no idea what's going to happen. But yeah, I think you're right. But I also think like you're talking about, say Miami wins out in the ACC and they end up at 3 or 4. They live dangerously. Well, then you got a top 4 team out potentially early. And now you're talking about a little bit of mayhem in a 12-team playoff that you didn't otherwise expect. So it's not that a top 4 team can't win because of the way the ACC is constructed and Notre Dame plays whoever they want. Like this is, you never know what could happen in this scenario. And I think there's more parity this year than there's been in a very long time.
It feels that way for sure. It does. There is no, as much as Oregon deserves to be the top ranked team in the country, I don't know that if you put them on a neutral field tomorrow against Georgia, that they wouldn't be the underdog.
Sure. And they might. But if you had a 4-team playoff right now, you wouldn't get Texas, and they're one of the top 4 teams in the country. Yeah, so this system is
still broken.
There's a reason, not broken. There's a reason why they're doing 12. And I'm just like, but the 13th team.
Yeah. All right. Sam says he's calling an Alabama loss this week at LSU.
That would be the end of them. That would be the end of them.
Yes, and I think Ole Miss might beat Georgia this week too.
Jeff disagrees.
All right, Jeff says Bama will be higher. So if they get past LSU this week, shout out to the Adirondack Thunder and Jeff Casey. Start of the season, going here for a couple of weeks now. Yeah, look, I have bought in because they keep showing if the playoffs started today, here are the brackets.
And that's it. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
I will watch. I'm not one of those fans who's like, I'm not going to watch. Yes, you will. Of course you will. Yeah. It's football. You will watch.
You will until it's a 50-point blowout. But here's the deal.
Or until they expand it to X number.
There was a 4-team playoff a few years ago. Allie Hurt, close your ears. And TCU got run out of the building. So like that. If that happens, it doesn't necessarily mean it's because it's a 12-team playoff. It sometimes just means that like teams get lucky and get to where they are and teams are outmatched.
Well, look, you see, and not that TCU is a Cinderella because, again, you're talking about only 4 teams, but we see blowouts in the Elite 8 and the Final 4 because you get double-digit seeds who eventually show we don't actually really belong against this competition, right?
But that's winning like 1 or 2 games that you're not supposed to in order to get there.
Yeah.
TCU had to play a season well enough to get to the Final 4 and then continue to win. It's football's a little different than hoops.
Speaking of hoops.
Yeah.
The Jerry McNamara era is underway. Sienna's going to play
It's so good.
Yeah, I know. Sienna's going to play a Friday night game as we do the show live on a Thursday night. I've run into a number of people lately, and they say, boy, you guys are up early on a Sunday morning.
We're not live.
No. If you're watching on TV, join us on social media Thursday nights or just keep watching on TV.
Yeah, we love that you watch on TV.
Absolutely.
But we are not, Sunday it's mornings. Dark out. Yeah. It's not early dark, it's late dark.
Late dark, there you go. Well, still, so they beat Brown and they'll play a Friday night game as we do the game, as we do the show on a Thursday night here. 1-point win in overtime. And look, the expectations were incredibly high going in.
Were they?
Yes.
For this team?
Do you find Siena basketball fans to be realistic?
Well, but here's the deal. They were not good last year.
No.
They've had an entire team of turnover, essentially, and you have a brand new coach who came in late to the game and is pulling from the transfer portal and trying to recruit kids. I don't know that the expectations were high this year. I think people are excited for a fresh take and a new look, but if they finished 500 in the middle of the pack in the MAC, I think people will be like, okay, cool.
Okay.
You finish in the basement of the MAC, that's a problem.
Well,
but
they'd be paying a lot of money to finish in the middle of the pack of the MAC.
In 1 year. Like,
I know.
1 year. I don't know that this is not a 1 year project, is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it isn't. It isn't. But I've also cautioned Siena, knowing nothing, right? I've also cautioned Siena fans. You understand a 19-13 year and a run to the MAC championship game might be enough.
See ya.
might be enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know that you want that. I think you want like a little bit of a slow build, like get better, win in year 3. Okay. Now he's gone. So.
And look, I don't know. Is GMAC just a hot name in the Northeast and maybe only in New York?
Sure.
I don't know. Like our college programs around the country going to look at that and say, we've got to have him?
No.
Are we biased here?
Yes, we're biased here. But if he took this year's team or he takes next year's team to the MAC championship game, he'll be hot on everyone's radar because people are smart enough to know, hey, a coach in 2 seasons went from the basement to the top of the ceiling, and he's a name that enough people know. Like it,
no doubt.
You don't need to be in the Northeast to know the name Jerry McNamara. When you're on a national championship team and you're like the hot 3-point shooter, people just tend to know you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Albany Cup here. November 16th. So in a week, quick, early in the season.
That is early in the season.
Which I like.
Mm-hmm.
It's
feeling out. You just go get them.
It's a non-conference game. Let's go play it before Thanksgiving. I like that a lot. And year 4 of Dwayne Killings at UAlbany, the Great Danes dropped their season opener. I think Sam is asking, why is this game not at MVP Arena every year?
Didn't we change this?
We know why, right? Rotate home team. Who gets the money?
Because UAlbany wants a home game.
Correct.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Correct.
It's not a neutral court. We all understand this. It's all Siena fans. Just because the court doesn't say Siena doesn't mean it's not a home game for Siena. If I had a nice new arena like UAlbany had, I'd want to play there too. And I've never even seen it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
I left before it was built.
I thought at some point you may have walked through there.
Nope, I did not.
Okay. Dirty, Difficult, Done, Performance Industrial still to come here on the show. Wendi McLendon-Covey, though, coming up in a minute. She is starring in NBC's new sitcom, St. Denis Medical. The previews look funny. And as I say,
it's a comedy?
It's a comedy.
Cool. Normally you get a medical name and you're like, it's like Grey's Anatomy or, you know.
Yeah.
One of those rescue shows.
But David Allen Greer is back on television, which is awesome. Yeah. And I think it looks funny. And it's not easy to do funny on network television. I agree. These comedies, sitcoms don't generally last very long, but this one feels a little bit different. We'll talk with Wendi McLendon-Covey coming up here on Onorato and Miller. Back in a minute.
With camping all over again with a new RV from Alpenhaus. As our attention turns to changing leaves and tailgate parties, be sure to stop by Alpenhaus to find the perfect RV for your fall camping trips. You'll love this Coachman Catalina for only $131 a month. And check out this Keystone Cougar Sport for only $358 a month. Whether you're snowbirds heading south or leaf peeping through New England, our outfitters will make sure you have everything you need for your autumn adventure. Shop online at alpenhausrv.com or come see us in Amsterdam and Saratoga.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bevs, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bevs. At the end of the day, if you walk in these stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Back on Onorato and Miller, and I don't know when it stops being funny breaking the fourth wall on TV, but it hasn't stopped for me yet. And a funny new show will come to NBC, St. Denis Medical, and Wendi McLendon-Covey is joining us here on the show. Wendi, thank you so much. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great.
Why is breaking the fourth wall still funny? I mean, so many shows have done it to great success, and just seeing the promo of this show, I already know it's done so effectively.
It just works for a workplace comedy. It really does. It's a little weird to step into that after, doing a scripted show where you just were not allowed to do that for so long. It feels counterintuitive, but it makes people laugh. So I'm not going to argue with
it. What makes this cast work? David Alan Grier, like just all time funny with you as well at the top of this thing. What makes this work? Because I've felt for a long time now that doing funny in general is difficult. Then to put it on network television is another level of difficult. Why does this one work?
This one works because luckily our cast just clicks. We've gotten along and worked really well together from the jump. So that's a big plus. I think we all love what we do so much and we really want this show to work, but also, this is kind of a love letter to work families. You spend more time with your work family than you do with your real family sometimes. So that's something that we really want to get across, and that we absolutely have the utmost respect for healthcare workers, especially after doing this. I don't know how anybody stays in that profession long term without losing their marbles, but thank God we have people that can do it.
And the situation is so real, right? This is felt across the country where hospitals are overrun with patients, they're short-staffed, workers are on strike. But my feeling is that if you don't laugh about it, you're going to cry. And so at least I think even for people who might be in the weeds of it all, they might even still find this funny, right?
I think they will. I think they definitely will. And, one universal truth is that we're all going to end up in the hospital at some point. Yep. There's nothing you can do about it. You're going to end up there in your life. So I think that's another reason why the show works, is because there is a never ending stream of material.
You're hitting prime time in another way the night before Thanksgiving. Usually that's like just a big bar night. Everybody's back in their hometown. They go out and get wild. But you are hosting the countdown to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. How did this happen?
I am. Well, it's NBC asked me, and of course I'll do anything they say. And I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to go to that parade. And so finally the parade gods smiled down upon me and gave me this opportunity. And I cannot wait. It's going to be so fun.
Is part of the deal being like Mr. Pitt, where you get to walk underneath one of the balloons? Great Seinfeld episode. Or do they get a balloon made of you? What else did you work this in?
To have a balloon made of me, I mean, I don't know if I should fly that close to the sun, with my thoughts. That's just too exciting. But maybe I'll get to walk under one like Mr. Pitt. That's a good reference. But I'm just so excited to do anything for it.
The Thanksgiving Day Parade, of course, is so iconic on NBC every single Thanksgiving morning, and you will get it all started the night before. St. Denis Medical premieres Tuesday, November 12th, 8 o'clock, right here on News Channel 13 and on NBC's everywhere. Wendi is playing Joyce, the hospital executive director. So if anything goes wrong, I got a feeling it's on you. Wendi, thank you.
On me, yeah. Thank you so much.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable.
This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
Wendi McLendon-Covey, and Nash, I told you, you'll know her from
I
a
don't know the name.
specific Office episode, and I think a lot of people know her from the Goldbergs. But I'm telling you, this I love David Allen Greer. I think this show has a shot, and it's again not easy to do comedy at the network TV level.
Sure.
All right, last week these were our picks. We didn't share them with you ahead of time.
Trust us. I mean, we have the emails to prove it.
We do. Yep. And
John Conlon
look, if
knows
we were going to lie about it, we would have both gone 5-0.
Right.
Right. But we went 4-1 and 3-2, and the season records are.
I mean, they were
as good as they've ever been.
They were real bad mine was real bad for a while.
Yeah.
I've bounced back a little bit.
I mean, 11 again, picking against the spread. And I say this not every week, but most weeks.
500.
We're not picking games because we like the number, right? Which is what any gambler would do and try to identify, okay, where do I have a real edge? We're picking games based on regional, right? So Yankees, Giants, Jets, Bills, and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the Sunday night game on NBC, the game of the week at 4:25, maybe a Monday nighter here and there. Not because we think we've got an edge picking against the spread. We're picking.
We don't have an edge picking against
popular,
anything.
And we're picking regional. Here's one of those regional games. Wake up with the Giants and the Panthers, and then vomit your breakfast in Germany. And as people jokingly say, that's what you get for starting that war. We send you the Giants and the Panthers. The Panthers have gone back to Bryce Young, and the Giants at 2-7 look like time to wave the white flag, and maybe Brian Dable can still keep his job. But we both like the Giants here, 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. I think these are two bad teams, but I think the Giants just have more talent. For me, the 4.5 was an easy one. Now, whether or not that looks smart when we play in Germany on Sunday, who knows?
Yeah, I agree here. Like, the Giants just have more talent. They play better away from home. Now, this is way away from home, but they play better away from home. So I'm with you. I think Daniel Jones plays better, and Bryce Young continues to struggle, I would imagine, against the Giants pass rush.
Do you think I'll watch football all day on the couch?
Yeah, other than the times that you may fall asleep on the couch.
Yeah, true. Go for a walk between games, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9:30. That's one that I actually have to watch. Like, there was that bad London game, Jags. Who was it?
Patriots.
Jags Patriots. That I was like, I have no interest. I'm not watching. Didn't watch.
Yeah.
The Jets, when they were over there, I watched because it was at least somewhat interesting. This I'll watch because it's my team. I'm invested enough. But so yeah, maybe all day football.
Yeah, Packers bye week, so I'm on no stress.
Okay,
no
perfect.
stress. Bills and Colts, we're taking another road favorite here. Colts have gone back to Joe Flacco. Can't quite figure that one out. I don't imagine it's an experiment that should last long. You've got a young, talented guy in Anthony Richardson. Let him play.
Yeah,
let him play.
Letting him observe, the whole deal.
And Buffalo, they eke one out against Miami, closer than it probably should have been, but there is as good as almost anybody in the AFC. We'll find out about the Ravens tonight, Thursday night against the Bengals, but Buffalo by 4. Yeah.
Again, a touchdown. Yeah. For me, that was kind of okay.
Yeah. Okay. Steelers and Commanders. I think this is the only game we differ on actually this week. We're picking 5 of them. You're taking the home team, Washington, with the rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. Why?
I just like the wow factor that he brings. I know the Steelers bring a really, really good defense and tend to hold teams probably under what their season average is. But Daniels loves to let it fly, and he has enough weapons that I just think like they're going to put up more points against the Steelers than other teams have this year, and they're fun, so I'm picking them.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun. They generally haven't had a hard time scoring. It was a sloppy game against Chicago, but they win on that Hail Mary. I'm taking Pittsburgh here because something just seems to have clicked with Russell Wilson and this team. And yes, the defense is where it starts.
Yep.
And they added a pass rusher in Preston Smith from Green Bay. I'm not a Russ fan, and I'm not a long long-term believer in him in Pittsburgh. Like, I wouldn't pick them to necessarily win a playoff game, but there's something right now that's working. They're believing. And so give me this defense and what I think will be I do think they hold down Washington's offense. Give me a low-scoring game. And maybe it's the first time where we see Jaden Daniels really look like a rookie. Maybe. Eagles and Cowboys. No Dak. Parsons does come back for Dallas here, so that's a factor. But maybe 6.5 is a touch too big. Like, Philly is not winning games as easily and comfortably as they should a lot of weeks. But how do you pick Cooper Rush and the Cowboys? And Dallas has been bad at home this year. It feels like this is an easy cover.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Dallas is 3-5 with Dak. And to be very transparent, I picked the Cowboys at first just because I thought, I want to be different. They're at home where they don't play very well, whatever. I picked them anyway. And like 2 or 3 hours later, we learned that Dak wasn't going to play. And I immediately was like, I want to change my pick. This was on like Tuesday or something. So I changed my pick because obviously that's a different team. Now, Cooper Rush played games in 2022 when Dak was hurt. 4-1 as a starter, looked really good. How much worse could it get? Not that much worse. But I'm still on the Eagles.
The Eagles have said we're preparing for the same offense with Cooper Rush, and the Cowboys have said we aren't changing anything. So
we're confident.
What does that say? Does that say that they believe Cooper Rush can play at the same level as Dak Prescott, who's making $60 million? I don't know,
because that level's not very good right now.
Yeah. So the Eagles,
but they could be without him for 4+ weeks. They're talking about maybe IR, maybe not. It's a long time.
The AFC East is the worst division in football, right? Has to be. Buffalo 7-2. The Jets are 3-6. The Dolphins are 2-7. The Patriots are 2-7 also, I believe. I think I've got all that right.
So you mean combined record?
But the NFC East is not good either. You've got
the Commanders are saving
Washington and Philadelphia. Washington and Philadelphia there at the top.
But two teams if you have two teams that are good, it kind of evens out. It's when you get 3. If you get 3, then that's not good.
The AFC East is bad.
Okay.
Really, really bad.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
It's not bad.
On News Channel 13 and NBC, the Lions and the Texans here, and we are both again taking, this is 1, 2.
Last week we were only 1 different.
3.
Yep.
No. I'm pointing out something else here. 4. We're taking 4 road favorites.
Sorry.
4 road favorites. Detroit. Detroit looks like.
And by the way, they added Zadarius Smith.
World beaters
this week. So went out and got Zadarius Smith. Like they're already good and then they're going for it. So they're not like, we're good enough. Well, go at a pass rusher and now look out. That's a team. You'll lose a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. Well, now they've kind of filled that hole. Not that they're the same player, but they're trying.
Yeah, I just offensively.
And I like the Texans a lot, but
yeah, they've
cooled off.
And their record is a little deceiving at 6-3. They're not quite playing that way. They're injured. But Detroit looks like good luck stopping them. That I guess if you were to sign us up for Lions Chiefs or Lions Ravens or Lions Bills now in February, a lot of people might take that. Oh, by the way, Christian McCaffrey back at practice for the 49ers. So that gets interesting in San Francisco now. Giants, Bills, yes. Split on the Steelers and Commanders. Eagles, Lions. Again, those records.
So no matter how good or bad we are, we're not going to go far from one another.
Right.
Because we've only got 1 different.
Yep. And it'll be a long day of football, as Ash has pointed out. All right, when we come back here on Onorato and Miller, that performance industrial, dirty, difficult, done. Early season surprises in the NBA on both ends. Teams with really good records, teams with awful records that are surprised to start. We're back in a minute.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcellus Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bevs, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bevs. At the end of the day, if you walk in these stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House. And now, dirty, difficult, and done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Bill Miller and his great team at Performance Industrial. There's never a job that's too dirty or too difficult, Ash, for them to get it done. We're talking about industrial cleaning to the greatest degree. And this, I mean, how many times have we used Bronny James in the Triple D? A lot. A lot.
Listen, this is one that I'm going to sort of like hang my hat on.
Yeah,
I know it's not done yet, but Bronny James's time in LA is kind of done. So already relegated to the G League. And I know, listen, it's like, hey, we're going to send him to the G League and then we're going to bring him back and they're going to shuffle him, basically shuttle him between one team and the next. But he's in the G League. He's in South Bay. He's going to be on the Lakers Friday and then go play for the G League team on Saturday. Going to go back and forth. Probably won't play for the Lakers even when he's on the Lakers, at least not very much. This is the right move. He's a second round pick, late second round, right? Mid to late second round.
50s, yeah.
Those guys generally play in the G League, with the exception of a very few second round picks. They need development. They need reps. They need time on the court against other players. And I understand he practices, but like he's not getting meaningful minutes where he can get better and give himself a shot to play in the NBA. I don't believe he's an NBA player. I've said that a million times. His last name is James. That's all I believe makes him NBA worthy. But yeah, he should have a G League career or go overseas.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't believe that he gets meaningful minutes in the NBA ever?
Meaningful? No.
Okay. I don't know that I disagree. It's hard to
cut it off already,
quote unquote, give up.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I get that.
But it feels like if I had to pick one way or the other, I would pick your way.
If he goes and blows the doors off in the G League, maybe he'll get some minutes in the NBA, but I just don't see it. I don't see. He didn't blow the doors off at the Division I college level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously he had a slow start physically, but
different.
Yeah. Okay. And there are certain people who will celebrate that. You know, the moment of LeBron and Bronny on the court with
cool.
the grip. Yeah. I mean, it was
cool.
so manufactured that it felt like
it was just happening because
correct. We're cheapening the historic significance of this event because it really probably shouldn't be. Like the Griffey's senior was still playing some ball.
Yeah, no doubt.
And this was really just because the Lakers wanted to appease their superstar, period.
Yeah. Like, listen, if Cooper Flagg's dad was playing in the NBA and then that dude came in, that'd be cool. Like, they're different levels of,
how about Cooper Flagg?
But, not so much.
Might be the real deal, Cooper Flagg. Look at these records here. What surprises you the most?
For me, I think it's the 1-6 Bucks. I think it's the 1-6 Bucks.
Okay.
Nothing else is. Listen, 2 years ago, we saw the Cavs, a playoff team, really surprising, really talented, young, good team. So that doesn't super surprise me. The Warriors will never surprise me all that much. But the Bucks should be a lot better than 1-6. The Sixers, nobody's played for them. So I'm not, Paul George has played one game for them or whatever it is. So that doesn't surprise me either because everyone's hurt. I think it's the Bucks just from like a perspective of they've had most of their players and not been very good.
The Sixers feel like the Durant, Kyrie, Harden.
It's so bad.
Nets.
It's almost worse.
Don't they?
Yeah, it's almost worse.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. You had guys in Brooklyn who didn't want to play.
Yeah.
You've got Embiid, who doesn't want to play.
Wants to shove reporters, and
I can't figure him out. I mean, he just doesn't want to play. And I wonder if there's something. Well, I don't wonder. There's something in this franchise culture, right, where you just allow your employees to get away with whatever. There is zero accountability. You're healthy, get on the court. But they did this with so many of their early picks. You're kind of let you sit. It was coddling all of these top picks in Philadelphia in the trust the process era that it is living on now, years and years later, with Joel Embiid and Paul George to an extent. Even the Bucks. It's surprising. It doesn't shock me. What a mistake Doc Rivers made by leaving broadcasting to go to this team. What a mistake the franchise made by firing Adrian Griffin for Doc Rivers. What a mistake they made probably with the Lillard trade as well. Like, it's just none of it's working in Milwaukee. And we all kind of wonder, when does Giannis demand a trade?
Right. But with the names, that's the thing, is like when you have names like Giannis and Chris Middleton and Dame Lillard, like, that team shouldn't be 1-6. I don't care who they're playing.
People were throwing dirt on the Warriors, right? That run's done. Clay leaves, and they couldn't get Markkanen, and they couldn't get other guys they were targeting in free agency and trades. And okay, it's a nice little roster, but are they 8-1? Pretty good. And Curry looks ageless. Almost to the degree that LeBron looks ageless.
How old is he?
It's wild. 36.
It's not 40, but yeah.
Yeah, it's to play the game the way he plays the game. Pretty impressive. And if you walk down the street and said, name 2 players on the Cleveland Cavaliers, how many people could do it? A lot of them would have to stop at Donovan Mitchell.
Darius Garland?
Yep.
Still there? Markkanen's not there anymore, right?
No. I mean, of course, we could do it. We've got Jarrett Allen there. We've got Karis LeVert there.
Oh, still those guys. Former Nets.
Evan Mobley, good young player from USC in Cleveland as well. Like, there are players.
They've drafted well.
They have. But who would have seen 9-0 coming?
Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. You got to let those draft picks marinate, learn to play with one another. You add a veteran like Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Sometimes things like that work.
We try to hit a range of topics, right?
We try.
Thank you, Scott.
I don't know.
Appreciate that, man.
We don't always do a ton of NBA, but
yeah,
we give it a shot.
Very informative. Feels like a little bit of an overstretch.
Yeah, thank you.
Carol wants to know, what is Drew Baseball? Just a great old baseball program in New Jersey. That's all.
College.
Yeah.
You gotta explain. College baseball. Division 2?
3.
Division 3. College baseball.
Buddy of mine works at the school, used to be the
baseball.
I'm gonna say the manager.
It's
know
a
how I
baseball
feel about
coach.
this.
Get out of here.
Head coach.
There's no managers in college baseball.
Why? What's the difference between a college baseball manager and a Major League Baseball manager?
You're coaching. That's the difference.
So they should all be coaches.
Yeah, I would call them a baseball.
Oh, no managers. Okay.
I mean,
Herter is he missed a couple games with an illness, but had 11 points on Wednesday night, and the Kings are playing some okay basketball to start the year, and Kev is in the starting lineup playing well as well.
Yeah, when he's not injured or sick.
Okay. All right, let's take another quick time out here. When we come back, we've got the top Major League Baseball free agents according to an ESPN list. Yeah, right. And the guy that Ashley calls the most versatile player in Major League Baseball, and she'll back it up.
His name's not Shohei.
No, definitely not.
I mean, he's pretty versatile.
When he pitches.
Yeah.
We're back right after this.
Skitoberfest is back at Alpenhaus, and this year it's gonna be epic. Bring the crew out to Alpenhaus Ski Shop October 17th through 19th as we kick off ski season. We're talking food, craft beer, giveaways, and live music. Not to mention some of the best deals of the year on ski and snowboard equipment and apparel. And this year we're celebrating 60 years, so we're throwing it back with retro pricing on ski tuning. Get your setup dialed in at prices that'll take you back to 1964. It's Skitoberfest in Amsterdam, Clifton Park, and now High Adventure in Latham. Alpenhaus, run by skiers and riders for 60 years.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable.
This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
All right, back final segment here on the show this week, week 10 of the NFL season. We remembered this week to actually make our picks. That's fun. Yes.
Nope.
Thought?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just going to say we did it.
Okay.
After skipping out.
Top free agents in baseball, Juan Soto, a clear number one. And then this is in order of how a list on ESPN.com appears. You can disagree or I don't, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
There is a Japanese free agent in play here who I did not put on the list. I don't know anything about him.
Right.
Neither do you. So why would not you?
Not
I'm talking about the you
maybe
out
not,
there.
Maybe some people do.
Let's not even spend our time there. Okay. Corbin Burns is the number one pitcher on the market. Agree?
Sure.
Yeah. There's no super, like if Garrett Cole had really opted out and become a free agent, he would probably be the number one pitcher on this list. But Burns
I'd take
is the
Blake
guy.
Snell after the year he had.
Yeah, me too.
Because you're probably going to pay a lot less, so a little less.
Yep.
So,
and historically, Snell has not eaten up innings the way some of these other guys have. But anyway, Willie Adames, power hitting shortstop, he belongs in Atlanta. Let me just say that right now. If the Braves don't make a serious play for him, they're not trying to win. Period.
Listen, if I'm a team, I'm going hard on Alex Bregman.
Oh, okay.
He's, I'm not going to say an elite third baseman. He's a really good third baseman.
Very good.
And he's got power.
Yep.
I'll take that guy in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Take him in a heartbeat.
That's coming from a Yankees fan too, who should have bad things.
Listen,
to say about him.
I don't like him as a opposing player, but I take him at third.
Yeah, he's a good player. Max Fried.
I wouldn't touch that guy with a.
Ooh.
Wasn't his season not that good?
Was not bad.
Injury prone.
He is that.
I'm all set.
He is that, and that's so. I think his free agency.
I'm
will
not
be
paying Pete Alonso.
Really interesting to watch Max Fried. Does he get a long-term contract? Does he go back to the Braves on one of those 1 year, $30 million deals? Right. Not paying Pete Alonso, the Mets will.
Sure.
And I think the Mets
unless
will
they
pay
pay
Pete
Juan
Alonso.
Soto.
I think Steve Cohen says I'm paying, but because if you swap one for the other, are you really that much better? Look, they played so much better than anybody believed they would in 2024.
Juan Soto's a lot better than Pete Alonso.
He is.
It's not even close.
He is, but just by taking one out and putting one in, I don't know that you're like, now we're much better. You have to add Soto to what you're doing with the Mets. And this is where
Alonso didn't do anything all year long.
So I think it becomes a little too rich for even Steve Cohen to do Alonso and Soto. That just
if the Rockman's watching, we're in the show, man. We're in the show. He's calling.
Rockman lives on his time. Nobody else's. And you said you like Blake Snell. All right,
love Blake Snell. I like Jack Flaherty too.
Yeah, me too. I didn't put him on the list. Flaherty's a free agent as well. Dodgers are moving Betts to the infield, which tells you all you need to know about their interest in Juan Soto.
You need to know.
But Betts can play. Where can't he?
He can
catcher.
literally play. Yeah, maybe that's the only
Pitching.
And pitcher. Yeah, he can't play in the battery, but other than that, he could play anywhere on your field.
Yeah,
and he's not tall enough to play first, but he could still do it because he can jump.
Yeah.
The dude and the Dodgers have. It's not surprising because it's the Dodgers. The Dodgers have a lot of guys like that. Like Chris Taylor's a utility guy. You could pretty much stick anywhere, but he's not to the level of like Mookie Betts is a top 10 player. And he could play 7 different positions. Mm-hmm. And he can do it really well. I just think like he's a super talented right fielder, but I would take him anywhere on the infield. They're going to move him in and they don't even know where they're going to put him. They're going to move him into the infield and like, maybe you play third, maybe you play short, maybe you play second. You can play anywhere you want. He spent half of last year before he got hurt playing the infield. Mm-hmm. Then when he came back, moved him to the outfield, and he played a great right field.
Yeah, because they had settled on Muncy, Rojas, Lux from third to second.
And Lux is another guy who can.
And Kike Hernandez, right?
You play everywhere.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I know. Pretty good. All right, one more Triple D to go here before we say goodbye.
And now, Dirty difficult, and done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Another shout out here to Bill's crew. Actually, before we do this, though, I like that. I mean, Troy says just ban them from baseball.
Why?
They're too good, or they have too much money to spend.
No,
What's the biggest beef here? I'm not sure.
They're not too good yet.
Okay.
I mean, they've, what is it, 2 titles in 5 years?
Yeah, and one was the COVID year that people are challenging as legitimate or not.
Overwhelming.
Right?
Yeah. I'm still happy to take on the challenge of the Dodgers than their $7 bajillion payroll, which probably makes ours look paltry.
So we called this last week on the pod.
You did.
Asked the question, who will be the next head coach fired in the NFL? And I said it's going to be the Saints' Dennis Allen. Not because I saw New Orleans losing to Carolina, but because they were on a 6-game losing streak. And I thought, well, at best, they'll be 3-6, and then they'll lose subsequent games after. It just didn't feel like it was working in New Orleans. And when you look back at, well, look at the start the Saints had. Oh,
it was kind of crazy.
They beat Carolina and Dallas. Those 2 teams are awful.
Yeah. But they put up 1 billion points.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
Right? They're playing Pee Wee teams. So I agree. When you look back at what they did to start the year and you think, how did this happen? Well, it happened because of their competition and Dennis Allen's run in it was Oakland at the time with the Raiders was not good. He just we've said this about how many people.
Coordinator.
He just might be a really good coordinator. There's nothing wrong with that. Josh McDaniels was a really good coordinator for a while, and he dipped the toes in the head coaching waters. And there's nothing wrong with being like the best of one particular profession. That's okay.
But this is his second head coaching job?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's over. Now you know. I think people deserve at least 2 chances.
Fine, yeah.
There are plenty that get more than that and shouldn't, but 2 chances is fair.
Yeah, I mean, do the smart guys know, okay, you know what? Like Ben Johnson is clearly being picky. Right? He's not leaving Detroit unless it's the perfect situation. Now, maybe is he looking at the Washington deal and thinking,
maybe should have done that.
Maybe I should have gone to Washington. Jane Dan, that would have been nice. But if Eberflus gets fired in Chicago, does Ben Johnson look at that job? Does he like Caleb Williams? Does he then decide, okay, you know what, this one will work for me. I'll do that. But I think the smart guys, and I'm not saying anybody should limit their ambition, not want to be a head coach. But I think you have to understand.
Dan Quinn feels pretty good right now.
What's the right?
And doesn't it feel better to turn around like I know it wasn't all him, but isn't that going to feel pretty good when Dan Quinn potentially wins the division with Jaden Daniels in Washington and a team that hasn't done that, and I can't tell you how long. Like, that's kind of cool.
And I get that not all things are equal here, but the new ownership change, right? Like it just all of a sudden feels like Snyder out, Quinn and Daniels in. Here's an interesting one. And I have 10 seconds to say it. Does Cliff Kingsbury now feel like, you know what? I've done the head coaching thing. That's really hard. I'm having a lot of success as a coordinator. This is where maybe I belong. Maybe this is my strength. This is where I can make a really long career for myself.